and welcome to Uprisings. My name is Muriel Crabbs, and I am here today with Bobby Little, who is a master gardener. Now, one of the reasons I started to produce this show is I wanted to make sure that people would focus on taking care of themselves and each other, particularly in times of difficulty, which I believe are on their way, if not already here. One of the things I think that we can do that I've learned about is in home gardening. And I got in touch with Bobby and asked her what she knew about it and what we could do to help people start to focus on feeding themselves. And I was saying to you, Bobby, as I drive over across the landscape and see all these developments of people living in these lovely homes, and they're growing grass on property that used to be farms, actually. I have some friends personally who are growing vegetables, and it's absolutely amazing how much someone can get out of a very small vegetable patch, and of course how wonderful these foods are for us to begin with. I mean, this is just wonderful stuff. So thank you very much for coming. And if you wouldn't mind, please tell us what a master gardener is, actually.
Okay. Master gardeners are part of the Cooperative Extension Service, which every county in Pennsylvania has a Cooperative Extension Service. And we're all considered volunteers of Penn State University, and their department, their College of Agriculture falls under the Department of Agriculture for the state. So we're really just a division we're a division of Penn State. So we have a little bit of education, and to pay back that education, we volunteer our services back to the Cooperative Extension and to Penn State, and try to teach other people, help them with their gardening problems if they're interested in doing some gardening.
Well, how long have you been actually identified as a master gardener?
I'm relatively new. I took my training in 2005, and then once you have 50 hours of volunteer work completed, you're considered a certified master gardener. So in 2006 sometime, I believe that's what it was, I became a certified master gardener. And it has just taught me that there's still an awful lot to learn out there, that it provides us with a broad, basic understanding of gardening, but then we also need to keep on learning because there's so much to gardening.
You were telling me, of course, that you had a regular profession, occupation that was totally unrelated to gardening. So did you come to this after retirement or while you were still working full-time, or what?
When I was working full-time, I was still gardening, and I always thought I'd like to be a master gardener once I retired, thinking, well, that's going to be a long time. It was just something for in the future, but I've had a garden since I was, I believe, 20 years old, because I remember I was attending summer school during my college years, and I still managed to have a garden here at home. It probably wasn't a real great garden, but also had house plants as a college student, and my grandmother was a very good gardener, and at the time my boyfriend, who's now my husband, his aunt was a wonderful gardener, so they would send me articles and help me with gardening problems, and so I've been doing this for a long time. Not well, but I think I get better each year.
Well, that's really neat. I mean, and it's something that you can grow personally after you're finished with your occupation, because you have retired from the workaday world, haven't you?
I think that's safe to say, but you never know. You never know. But there's so many other volunteer activities. The Master Gardener program is just one of those. But in the summer, I do like to try different things in the garden and encourage other people to do the same thing, to try different things, have fun with it, but don't let it be a burden.
Well, I saw a friend of ours, actually, I talked to her. She's recently retired as a school teacher and has started this great garden in her backyard, and said that she's come and talked to you and encouraged me to talk to you because She's gotten a lot of help and direction from you. But I think we, too, have discussed the fact that our grandparents and, parents had gardens. I mean, people used to have gardens on a regular basis. Even now, my mother-in-law, who's in a retirement village, she continues to grow tomato plants because that's what they did.
Yes.
And that's what you do. And I am so excited about this because one of the other things that we are experiencing with the economy is people actually losing their jobs. And I've, had women say, gee, my husband hasn't worked for several months. Well, what better way to occupy his time than to get out there and dig in the earth and plant a garden and feed his family right from his backyard?
Absolutely, and it's easy. You can start small. I have a garden. Well, it's my husband and myself, but our garden is probably way too big, and really a family of, let's say, 4 people. Mm-hmm. A few tomato plants would provide a tremendous number of tomatoes all summer. Well, for when they they come into season in late July and August, but they can be frozen. Something very easy to do. We won't even get into jarring because that takes some time, but is a possibility. But freezing tomatoes, whatever you can't eat that summer, is a great way to keep those tomatoes all year round. Mm-hmm. And tomatoes, I think, are the one vegetable that you just can't beat the flavor of a tomato out of your own garden. Those store-bought things that we get in the winter are I just don't even. They're not even tomatoes. They're just. I just don't even.
These round rubber balls.
Yes.
I when we first moved to Hanover, my husband put in a garden, and I'm probably about the size of the platform we are now sitting on. And I remember at the end of October running out and pulling the tomatoes off those that had not ripened yet, off the vines because the frost was coming. And then I had them down in my basement, just like they did when I was a kid. We had tomatoes in the basement at the basement window ripening and continuing to have them through the winter. My grandfather had an interest in a small farm in the Eastern Shore, and we, my large family, I think I told you, 7 brothers and 6 sisters, we would have green beans and lima beans and all sorts of vegetables all through the tomato sandwiches every day. But that's what we lived on, and it was wonderful. My sister gave me a video of some pictures of our family, and there's a picture of me and my brother on a big, huge wagon wheel. I think we might be able to show that. With I don't know what kind of vehicle it was. It was a wagon and a mule standing next to it, and it was my mother, when we were kids living in Lutherville, would have a gentleman come up. I don't know where it came from actually, but it would dig up the yard in the back for her to put her garden in. So coming back to the earth, people can get information. Now, I imagine there are a lot of people out there, and I know even for myself that my kids don't know how to do this. My kids do not know how to don't plant things, and I think that there are a lot of people whose children simply have never learned, as well as many of us really haven't, but who may be interested in how to get started with the garden, what things they need to start the garden, what kind of soil is required, all that. Is that information that they can receive from your organization?
Yes, at any of the cooperative extension offices, there is a tremendous amount of information on getting started. If we focus on vegetables, let's say someone wants to grow green beans, which are pretty easy to grow. That would be a great plant to get started, and you're going to have more green beans than you could ever possibly want. But pick up a brochure, ask for one on green beans. And then it's also important to have the soil, appropriate soil for these vegetables. You might have to, we always encourage people to do soil tests, find out what nutrients are in your soil. You'll probably have to add some compost. You might have to add some other nutrients, possibly. You might, but a soil test will tell you what needs to be added to the soil, if there's any lime that needs to be added or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the soil around here, the soil is pretty forgiving. Well, maybe some of the other master gardeners would disagree,
mm-hmm.
but if the Cooperative Extension Office, the folks there can help you at least get started with some reading materials on how to get started with a garden, because it's pretty simple.
I think you said that these extension offices are in every county.
Correct.
So your county has one. And where is that located?
That is out at the Pleasant Acres Complex. I can't think of the name of it. I want to say Pleasant Acres Road. It's out in East York.
Well, we'll probably be able to figure that out and put it up.
Sure.
But you are from attached though to the Adams County office. And where is that? I bet you know.
That one I do know. That is in Gettysburg on Old Harrisburg Road.
Uh-huh.
And in a beautiful building that's worthwhile visiting itself. Both the Cooperative Extension Office in York and Adams County will have native gardens planted around the buildings. Native plants are things that that grow naturally in this area,
mm-hmm.
and some of these plants in the gardens are just beautiful. And they're worthwhile seeing at various times of the year.
So these are the florals, probably more.
Well, it might be bushes, it might be trees, they might be perennials. We're also the vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
But just to look at these gardens and see more of a natural-looking garden, it's worthwhile just to go visit these buildings, and it's free. So that's the best part. You can just wander through the gardens, and things are marked, and you can get an idea of types of things that you'd like to grow. But I don't know if anybody has any vegetables growing. They might.
So the places, your offices in Adams County and in your county, they have, as you said, different herbs or just perennials and different things that you've grown there. I was wondering, do they have herbs there as well? That's one of the things I think that would be helpful for people to grow.
In a lot of these, I can't speak for your county, but the Cooperative Extension Office in Adams County, many of the master gardeners will have their own trial gardens, so they can grow whatever they want. So there may very well be herbs, and with a lot of the native plants, some of those can be used. Some of those might be herbs,
mm-hmm.
but I'm not sure about an actual herb garden, but.
Well, I think you told me that your group can help people even with learning about raising nut trees or fruit trees. So what we're going to do actually is take a break now, and when we come back, we will talk to you about what different courses are available for people and all the various sources that you or resources that you do have. So we'll be back in a minute. Thank you for listening.
Someday, I'll be a ballerina, just like them. And this will be my stage, where I twirl and float and swirl for all the people looking at me. Someday, this won't just be my wish. Someday, I won't be sick.
For all of us, thinking about the death of a loved one is very difficult, but our society is aging. That's why it's so important that we have frank, open discussions about end-of-life care. I want all Americans to know that they can receive hospice care at home, in a nursing home, or a hospital, surrounded by loved ones. Hospice provides state-of-the-art medical care and addresses social, emotional, and spiritual needs at end of life. And for most, the cost is covered by insurance, Medicare, or Medicaid. 20 years ago, my husband helped pass the Medicare hospice benefit. He believes, like I do, that all families deserve the comfort and dignity that hospice provides. So please, talk it over with your family. I know it's not easy, but when the time comes, you'll be thankful you did.
Hello and welcome back to Uprisings. We are with Bobby Little, the Master Gardener, and I'm not going to say it right. What is it again?
The Penn State Cooperative Extension.
The Cooperative Extension. I think we've agreed that doesn't tell you anything about what it does. But we understand it's some sort of extension from Penn State that is trickled down from the Department of Agriculture.
Right.
While we were on the break, we were talking about the fact that there is this childhood obesity with children eating all this processed food. Wouldn't you agree that they too should be taught how to grow things and to be attracted to fresh vegetables?
I think so. We do. The Master Gardeners do work in some children's programs. We work with a lot of the homeschooled children in teaching them how to grow vegetables, or maybe even some flowers, or just get them started to try and foster interest in growing things. And if they develop an interest now, and it would be great to get the parents involved to grow their own produce or buy local produce and just eat more. We probably all need to eat more vegetables, I'm guessing, and it always tastes better when you grow it yourself.
Right. Well, and they really are better for you. I think the vegetables that we get from Mexico, they have to travel, they have to be somewhat treated in order that they don't go bad before they get here. And so we can grow and control the soil and hopefully maintain a really good healthy base out of which the vegetables come. That's what the composting is all about. And don't you think grandparents, it seems to me, we were talking about our grandparents and our parents. Well, we're getting to the point of being grandparent age and grandparents. I didn't say that really out loud.
No, we are. That's right. That's right.
But I have friends who have grandchildren, and I think that their concern for their grandchildren might help them be interested in following up with this. If somebody really wanted to learn, you said get in touch with them, but I think your group is actually giving courses. Would you tell us about that?
Sure. Starting March 1st, the Adams County Master Gardeners are hosting a basic program it's an 8-week course on different topics related to gardening. It's not just vegetables, but it'll talk about how to prepare the soil, how to take care of bugs without blasting everything with toxic chemicals, but how best to avoid bad bugs in the first place. But it's a good basic course on how to get started in gardening, whether it's talking a little bit about grasses or talk about perennials, trees, shrubs, vegetables, how to plant, a little bit about landscape design. So that's a great course, March and April, that we hope will be an annual event.
Now that, I think, did you say it's on Saturdays or?
No, it's, and I don't have my notes here,
Okay.
but there's Wednesday is a class at the Eichelberger Performing Arts Center. Monday, let me think, is at the Gettysburg YWCA, and Thursday is at the East Berlin Community Center. The same course will be at all three locations taught the same week. So it was just a wonderful way, and there's a nominal fee, but it's a wonderful way to get exposed to some basic information about gardening.
So in order to sign up for those courses, you would get in touch with the Adams County office, which is in Gettysburg.
Well, each of those three locations that I just mentioned would be handling the registration, so they're the ones that should be contacted, or the Cooperative Extension. The Master Gardeners group could help them with some information about it. That's coming up in about a week.
Right.
So.
Well, and we hope that you will continue to have different courses available, right? You said if this goes well.
Right. All the Cooperative Extension offices will offer different programs throughout the year. So any Cooperative Extension, we'll just talk about Pennsylvania, any of the Cooperative Extension offices through the Master Gardeners group, or the other way around, will have different classes that they offer to the public. That sometimes Master Gardeners will take them just to get better on a certain topic, but a lot of times those classes are, in fact, the majority of the time those classes are open to the public. So websites are one resource that they can go find out what is going on and when, or simply calling the Extension office and trying to find out what classes are being offered.
Do you have any idea how many Master Gardeners are in York County?
I'm not sure. It's a large number. I want to say, and anybody that's a York Master Gardener might kill me, but at a meeting the other night, I was told that there's about 200 Master Gardeners for York County.
Oh my gosh! So there's a lot of volunteers.
Yes.
Quite a few who are ready, willing, and able to give advice and direction.
Exactly.
That is wonderful.
They're available to help with speaking. They might speak in front of a group. They will teach certain programs. That's our role, to go out and teach and volunteer our services to help other people with their gardening problems.
What have you found personally to be the most rewarding part of your involvement in this organization?
Well, I think on a personal level, it's always fun to help other people with problems, especially the ones that I can solve. But sometimes folks will throw problems at me that there's something wrong with their plant. What am I doing wrong? And sometimes I need some help that we can't always figure it out. So once we do figure it out, then we learn more. It's a continual learning experience for us. So it's always wonderful to help resolve somebody else's problem, because then we're learning at the same time. So it's great.
Well, you sort of confess that there are some types of plants that you don't feel very, very confident with. And as you were telling me that, it reminded me how bad I personally have been. I had a girlfriend who had all these plants in her apartment, and she had so many she decided to name them after her friends, and the one that she named Muriel died. So, I mean, I didn't even all I had to be related to it that way. So I personally am not feeling super confident about gardening, but I really do want to give it a go. So, and I think what we were saying too, I mean, because I do not grow my own vegetables, I try to buy them locally, and I think you were suggesting that's a very good alternative. Not the same as growing yourself, but
well, I think it is the same. A lot of times these local produce stands, when I worked here in New York, I was always going to the farmers markets or some of the different produce stands close to where I worked, and could pick up fresh peaches when they were in season. I don't grow peaches, so these were just incredible peaches, or corn on the cob. I don't grow that, so it just can't get any fresher. A lot of times these are farmers that aren't blasting things with pesticides. And you can always ask, how do they take care of how do they grow their produce? But I think more importantly, it makes sense to me that why are we buying tomatoes shipped all the way from California? Here we are in Pennsylvania. It seems, and then the tomatoes are horrible. That's how much expense is involved in shipping those tomatoes from California. So again, you're going to get the freshest stuff from the farmers markets, I believe.
Yes, and of course, I guess everybody feels the same way about their home, but I think my father-in-law used to always refer to this being God's country. Well, of course, as I say, everybody probably feels the same way about their home, but it's a lovely area, and the Germans settled here in part because of the fertile soil. So we should be able to take care of ourselves with it, I think. Well,
absolutely.
In the just couple of minutes we have left, I don't want to have missed anything that you feel is important to share. I'm so very grateful, though, for you to come and to let people know that there are sources or resources out there for them if they're ready, willing, and able to start putting their hands in the soil. Any final thoughts that you have?
I'd say if folks are interested in growing a vegetable garden, again, we talked about it, contact your extension office, let them help you get started, and start small. Just try something, and if you haven't killed a whole bunch of plants, you're not going to learn anything, and just give it a try, but go try and get some information and learn a little bit about it first, and then jump right into it.
Do it. And then you can sell the extra tomatoes that you have, or like you said, you'll have more green beans than you'll ever need. Then the next thing you'll do is teach them how to can.
Absolutely.
That'll be fun.
Yes.
Hey, this is good stuff.
Cooperative Extension can help with canning and jarring. Food preservation, yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, that's the next time.
Next time.
So thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for listening, and tune in again with Uprising.